Everything you think you know about your own choices is a lie. You believe you are a rational person. You think you look at facts and make smart decisions. But neuroscience has uncovered a truth that is much more unsettling. Your brain is a master of deception. It makes a decision long before you are even aware of it. Then it constructs a logical story to make you feel in control. You are living in a world ruled by invisible forces. These hidden laws govern your friends, your family, and even your boss. Most people go through their entire lives without ever seeing the strings. They react to triggers they don't understand. They are being managed by biological programming designed for a world that no longer exists. But you can choose to see the patterns. You can learn the secret language of human behavior. Once you understand these invisible laws, the world looks different. You stop being a pawn in the game. You start seeing the triggers that everyone else misses. This is not just about understanding others. It is about reclaiming your own freedom. Welcome to NGB Stories. If you want to master your mind and understand the world around you, make sure to subscribe and join our community. We dive deep into the secrets of human psychology every week. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we are logical. Brain imaging shows something revolutionary. Your emotional centers make a choice a full 5 seconds before your conscious mind knows it. This means the part of you that thinks it is in charge is actually just along for the ride. It creates justifications for choices already made by your subconscious. Think about your last major purchase or a career move. You probably told yourself you weighed the pros and cons, but your emotional brain decided instantly, based on triggers you didn't even notice. People aren't actually illogical. They are perfectly logical within the framework of their hidden programming. This programming runs on 3 distinct systems. The first is your survival brain. This is the most primitive part of you. It does not care about your long-term success. It only cares about immediate safety. When you feel defensive or resist change, that is your survival brain talking. It chooses comfort over growth every single time. The second system is your social brain. We evolved in tribes. For our ancestors, being cast out meant certain death. Your brain still carries that fear. It constantly scans for social threats and ways to increase your status. This is why people stay in toxic jobs. It is why we buy things we can't afford just to impress people we don't even like. The third system is the meaning-making brain. Human beings cannot stand randomness. We must have a story for everything. Your brain will filter out facts that don't fit your story. It will create a narrative that makes you feel right, even when you are wrong. This is why 2 people can see the same event and have 2 different versions of the truth. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You realize that people aren't reacting to you. They are reacting to their own ancient biological software. There are 6 invisible forces that control almost every human decision. The first and most powerful is social proof. We are biologically wired to copy the crowd. When we are uncertain, we look at what others are doing. This happens without us even knowing it. This is why businesses use testimonials and why crowds attract more people. Your brain interprets a crowd as evidence that a behavior is safe. The second force is consistency. We have a deep need to align with our past actions. Once we make a public commitment, we will work overtime to keep it. This is why people stay in bad relationships for decades. Admitting they were wrong creates a pain in the brain called cognitive dissonance. The third force is scarcity. Fear of loss is more powerful than the desire for gain. When something is rare, its value spikes in our minds. Your survival brain sees a limited offer as a threat to your resources. It shuts down your logic and forces you to act fast. Likability is another major force. We say yes to people we trust and feel connected to. You can increase this by finding similarities with others. People like those who are like them. It sounds simple, but it is a massive psychological advantage. Real communication happens in a language most people never learn. It is written in micro-expressions and body positioning. The human face has dozens of muscles that reveal the truth in a fraction of a second. These tiny flashes of emotion are impossible to hide. A split second of contempt tells you more than an hour of polite talk. If someone's words don't match their face, always trust the face. The body also broadcasts hidden states. When someone is confident, they naturally take up more space. They stand tall and move with purpose. When they feel insecure, they contract. They hunch their shoulders and touch their neck to protect themselves. Deception creates a physical tension that is hard to mask. Liars will often lean away or create physical barriers with their arms. Influence is not about having the best argument. It is about psychological alignment. The foundation of influence is trust. Trust isn't just about being a good person. It is about being predictable. When your brain knows what to expect from someone, it feels safe. Trust is built through similarity and competence. If you show you can solve a problem, people will naturally open up to your influence. One of the most powerful tools is reframing. You don't change the facts, you change how the facts are seen. You turn a risk into an opportunity. You make new information feel like a natural extension of what they already believe. Advanced psychological mastery allows you to predict the future. People follow patterns that stay consistent over time. These patterns are formed early in life. If you know someone's primary driver, you know their next move. Some people are driven by security. They will always choose the safest path, even if it limits their growth. Others are driven by significance. They will take huge risks if it means they get recognized. Emotions are not random events that happen to you. They are responses based on your brain's predictions. Your brain is always trying to guess what happens next. When reality doesn't match the guess, you feel negative emotions like anger or anxiety. You can control this by updating your brain's internal models. When you feel a surge of anger, ask what your brain expected that didn't happen. By consciously changing your interpretation, you change the emotion. Every emotion also has a physical signature. Fear creates shallow breathing. Anger raises your heart rate. You can interrupt these feelings by controlling your breath. Slow, deep exhales tell your nervous system that you are safe. This resets your emotional state before you do something you regret. You can also use emotions strategically. To be creative, you should cultivate curiosity. To be precise, you should aim for calm focus. Emotions are contagious. You can lead a room by projecting the feeling you want others to have. their brains will naturally sync up with yours. You are being targeted by manipulation every day. Most of it isn't even malicious. People use tactics they've learned to get what they want. But conscious manipulators will exploit your vulnerabilities. They use artificial urgency to bypass your logic. They want you to decide before you can think. The best defense is the 48-hour rule. Never make a big life or money choice under pressure. Give yourself 2 days to let the emotion fade. Real opportunities don't disappear because you took time to think. Manipulators also use guilt to control you. They make you feel like you owe them your happiness. But you are never responsible for someone else's emotional choices. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary for your mental health. If someone makes you feel bad for having boundaries, that is a red flag of control. Persuasive communication follows a specific sequence. First, the brain asks if you are a friend or a foe. If it feels threatened, it shuts down. Second, it asks if the information is relevant. Third, it checks if the news fits what it already knows. Only after these steps does it look at your logic. Most people start with logic, and that is why they fail. You must build psychological safety first. You do this by listening and acknowledging the other person's perspective. Make the information feel relevant to their goals. Build a bridge from what they believe now to what you want them to see. Connect your message to their identity. People care more about their pride and security than they do about cold facts. Social dynamics are ruled by invisible hierarchies. Most people are unaware of these ranks, so they just accept the bottom spot. Power comes from psychological positioning. The person who controls the frame controls the interaction. If you stay calm while others are panicking, you become the center of the room. You set the emotional tone. Status is often a performance. High-status people speak slowly and use strategic pauses. They maintain eye contact and don't rush to answer questions. Low-status signals include fidgeting, speaking too fast, and avoiding eye contact. People will assign you the status you demonstrate through your habits. When you are under pressure, your brain shifts. It moves from slow thinking to fast, automatic patterns. It laser focuses on the perceived threat. This can make you blind to the big picture. You can prepare for this by rehearsing your responses ahead of time. This preloads your brain with the right actions, so you don't have to think when the heat is on. The highest level of mastery is pattern recognition. You start to see how someone will act before they even do it. Everyone has a stress response signature. Some get aggressive, some withdraw, and some seek help. If you know how someone acts under pressure, you know their true character. You also need to understand cognitive biases. People often look for info that proves them right. This is called confirmation bias. They also value information that is easy to remember, even if it isn't accurate. Once you see these shortcuts in others, you can predict their errors. Long-term change doesn't come from willpower. Willpower is a limited resource that runs out. Lasting change comes from habit psychology. Every habit has a cue, a routine, and a reward. To change your life, you must change the cues in your environment. Start small. If you want to exercise, just commit to putting on your shoes. Consistency is more important than intensity. The most powerful driver of change is identity. Don't say you are trying to quit a bad habit. Say you are not the kind of person who does that thing. When your behavior matches who you think you are, it becomes effortless. Every time you act on your new goal, you are voting for your new identity. Over time, that identity becomes self-reinforcing. Your environment also plays a massive role. Design your surroundings so that the right choices are the easiest ones. If you want to eat better, keep the healthy food in sight and hide the junk. This uses your brain's natural laziness to your advantage. Psychological mastery is not a one-time event. It is a framework for living. It starts with strategic awareness. You stop reacting and start observing. You ask what is driving the person in front of you. You manage your own internal state. You design your interactions for mutual benefit. This is not about winning at the expense of others. It is about creating value and building trust. It is about becoming a leader who inspires others to follow because they trust your vision. True resilience is being able to shift your perspective. When something goes wrong, ask how it will matter in 5 years. This scales your problems down to size. Don't let your self-worth depend on external things like money or status. Build an identity that is independent of your circumstances. The ultimate goal of this knowledge is to create a legacy. Use your understanding of human behavior to solve real problems. Help others reach their goals. When you align your skills with a purpose greater than yourself, you find true fulfillment. You are no longer a victim of your biology or social conditioning. You have the tools to navigate the world with confidence and empathy. You can see the invisible forces, and that means you are finally free. This is your new beginning. Every interaction is a chance to practice. Every day is an opportunity to see the world more clearly. The rules of the game are now in your hands. Use them wisely and ethically to build the life you were meant to lead.